I told this yesterday. Where's Welsh?
In UK.
UK, very good. And in Blanley, which is a mining town, which means that Blanley is famous for mining. Okay, so he is returning home after a fight with his girlfriend, and Joe Morgan is waiting for him. So now Joe is a driller. Okay, so burly driller's face. Burly driller. Burly means who is a very strong figure. Okay? He's very strong. Okay, burly and driller is Joe. Joe is a driller by profession. Okay, so Joe is waiting for Andrew because Joe and his wife Susan, they are expecting their first baby after 20 years of marriage. Okay, now they go to number 12 Blana Terrace, which is the house of Joe. Okay, and Andrew goes in. Andrew realizes now who is there with Susan. There are two people with Susan. Who are they?
The
Mom
midwife
and Menu.
and ma'am, the midwife, nurse, and Andrew Manson.
Susan Morgan's mother, one, and midwife. Okay, Susan
Midwife.
Morgan's mother and midwife. Okay, so we have two people there with Susan already. Okay, so now the mother offers to make tea for doctor. Okay, Dr. Bach. Bach is kind of a a greeting or a salutation you can say to address
Ma'am,
someone.
ma'am, it's like another word for dear.
Yeah, and not particular dear, but like we say, no, dear, come here, so please come here. No, it's a greeting word for someone. So bark is same. Okay. So now what happens? Now the mother offers to make a offers to make a cup of tea for doctor. Why does she see this? So now the mother realizes that it's still going to be some time. Mother is afraid that doctor will say, I'm going home and I'll return later, and he might not return after all. Okay. So just to sustain him, to detain him in the house only, she says, I'll make a cup of tea, just stay here. Okay. Just have your cup of tea, just stay here. Okay. So the mother is very worried. So that's why Andrew says, don't fret, mother, don't worry, mother, I'll not run away. Okay. Now in the kitchen by the fire, he is just thinking of how marriages are a dismal failure. Okay, like he is thinking of Bramwell, who was so foolishly loving towards a woman, who was so devoted to a woman, but at the end, the woman deceived him. Okay, and then he thinks of Edward Page. Edward Page was also fell in love with an ill-natured woman, and that woman also left him. So he's just there realizing that marriages are a dismal failure, and if not with Christine, I will not consider marriage at all. With Christine, he thinks it can be possible. Now, after all of this, finally the birth of the baby happens. Now, how is the baby born? Is the baby completely fine?
Ma'am,
How is he born?
he was born lifeless.
He was born lifeless. It was a stillborn baby. Okay. Now the doctor faces the dilemma whether to attend to the mother or to attend to the baby, because both of them demands his attention. Okay. But without giving it a thought, doctor rushes towards the mother, gives her a syringe. A hypodermic syringe is a injection. Okay. So he gives her an injection, and finally the mother is fine. Now, when the mother is fine, doctor had given the baby to midwife. Midwife, knowing that it is a stillborn baby, she just kept the baby beneath the bed with all the newspapers and all, because obviously the baby was not alive. There was no life. Okay, so she just kept the baby with all the wet newspapers and all, beneath the bed. So Andrew takes out the baby, and he realizes that the limbs seem boneless. So when there is a particular person alive, and the fingers and the entire body is stiff, okay, like this, it's stiff. Okay, but when there is no life in the body, it is very limp, like very limp. There is no bone, nothing. You cannot feel the bone. Okay, so the limbs seem boneless in the baby because the baby was not alive. Now, what was the baby suffering from? What was the baby suffering from?
Asphyxia pallida.
Asphyxia pallida. What is this? What is asphyxia pallida?
Ma'am, it is a suffocation or unconscious condition caused by lack of oxygen and excess of carbon dioxide in the blood, accompanied by failure to the skin, weak pulse, and loss of reflexes.
Okay, yeah. So when in the blood carbon dioxide increases and the level of oxygen decreases, there is deficiency of oxygen, then it is called as asphyxia pallida. Okay, so the baby was suffering from there. So doctor says, just get me hot and cold water quickly. Now the nurse or the midwife, she is like, but doctor, like she knows the baby is not alive. You cannot do anything to make him alive again, right? So, but still, doctor says, you just get me all of these things. Okay, now raise your hands. Who wants to read? Raise your hands. Okay, Vanshika. From here, snatching a blanket.
Snatching a blanket, he laid the child upon it and began the special method of respiration. The basins arrived. The ewer, the big iron kettle, frantically he splashed water into one basin, into the other. He mixed water as hot as his hand could bear. Then, like some crazy juggler, he hurried the child between the two, now plunging into the icy, now it into the into the steaming bath. 15 minutes passed. Sweat was now running into Andrew's eyes, blinding him. One of his sleeves hung down, dripping. His breath came pantingly, but no breath came from the lax body of the child. A desperate sense of defeat pressed on him, a raging hopelessness. He felt the midwife watching him in stark consternation while they pressed back against the wall where she had all the time remained. Her hand pressed to her throat, uttering no sound, her eyes burning upon him, was the old woman. He remembered her longing for a grandchild, as great as had been her daughter's longing for this child, all dashed away now, futile beyond remedy.
Okay, that's it. So now what happened? So now the doctor took the blanket, okay, and he laid the child upon the blanket. Now there were two basins. One was cold water and one was hot and cold water mixed, okay. So like a juggler juggles with the balls, doctors started juggling the baby simultaneously into the cold water, into the hot water, into the cold water, hot water. So he did this for 15 minutes, okay. Now he was very exhausted from this activity, but after 15 minutes of doing this, there was still no breath in the lax body of the child. Lax is lifeless body of the child. Now he just realized that it was a defeat from his side, okay, and he was very upset because he had promised Joe and he had promised the mother also, and the mother also wanted a grandchild. Susan wanted a child, okay, so he was very upset that he had disappointed all of them, okay. Now read from here, Aryan. The floor was now.
Yes, ma'am.
Constellation.
He felt the midwife watching him in stark consternation. Consternation is just a very surprising, a very shocking this thing that what are you doing? That the baby's not alive right now. what are you doing? Stark consternation is like a very, you give a very surprised look to someone. That is consternation. Okay, continue, Aryan. From here, the floor was
Yes,
now.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I just burped in between, so I'm sorry. So,
It's okay.
start now.
Yeah, you can start from here.
The floor was now a drag and a mess, stumbling over a soaping towel and almost dropped the child, which was now wet and slippery in his hands, like a strange white fish. For mercy's sake, doctor, whimpered the midwife, it's a stillborn. Andrew did not heed her, beaten and despairing, having labored in vain for half an hour. He still persisted in one last effort, grabbing the child with a rough towel, crushing and releasing the little chest with both his hands, trying to get the breath into that limp body. And then, as by a miracle, the pygmy chest with his hands enclosed gave a shot, one conclusive gave another and another, and you turned giddy. The sense of life was springing beneath his fingers after all that unending striving was so exquisite it almost made him faint. He redoubled his efforts feverishly. The child was gasping now deeper and deeper. A bubble of mucus came from one tiny nostril, a joyful, iridescent bubble. The limbs were no longer boneless. They had no longer lay back spinelessly. The blanched skin was slowly turning pink and then executed in the child's cry.
Okay, that's done. Thank you. So now what happened? So now he knew that it was done. He cannot do anything more. Okay, now the floor was a mess and there was wet towels and all, and Andrew almost dropped the baby, but it was fine. Now the baby was also wet and slippery in his hands because of that juggling thing. Okay, so midwife was like, just for mercy's sake, doctor, it's still born. Just leave it. You cannot do anything. Andrew did not heed her. Heed means care for her. Okay, so Andrew did not care for her, like he was not even listening to her. Okay, beaten, despairing, having labored in vain. Labored in vain means because his efforts were of no use. Why no use? Because the baby was still not breathing. He did one last effort, and what was that effort? He took the towel and he just rubbed the towel on the chest of the baby with both his hands. Okay, and he did this, and he was just trying to get bit into that limp body. And by a miracle, the pygmy, very small chest, because it was the chest of a baby. So finally, in his chest, the baby gave a very short, convulsive heave. Convulsive is uncontrollable. Heave is a sigh, a breath. Okay. So finally, the baby gave one breath, and then another, and then another. Finally, in Andrew's hands, okay, because the baby was in his hands, in Andrew's hands, he could feel the life coming up, life springing up. Okay. Now, finally, the limbs were no longer boneless. The head, when it was not alive, the head was just, here and there. Now, the head was also stiff, and the white pale skin turned into a pink color. Okay. And finally came the child's cry. Okay. Now, okay, Shivansh, will you read from here? Shivansh.
May I?
Okay, read from here. Dear Father.
Dear Father in heaven, the nurse sobbed hysterically. It's come alive. Andrew handed her the child. He felt weak and dazed. About in the room, laying in a shirting litter, blankets, towels, basins, sword instruments, the hypodermic syringe impaled by its point in the linoleum. The event locked over, the cattle outside in a puddle of water. Upon the huddled bed, the mother still dreamed her way quickly through the anesthetic. The old woman still stood against the wall, but her hands were together. Her lips moved without sign. She was praying. Mechanically, Andrew wrung out her sleeve, pulled on his jacket. I will fetch my bag later, nurse. I went downstairs to the kitchen into the scullery. His lips were dry. At the scullery, he took a long drink of water. He reached for his hat and coat. Outside, he found Joe standing on the pavement with a tense, expectant face. All right, Joe, he said thickly, both all right. It was quite light, nearly 5 o'clock. A few minutes were already in the streets. A few miners were already in the streets, the first of the night shift moving out. As Andrew walked with them, spent and slow, his footfalls echoing with the others under the morning sky. He kept thinking blindly, oblivious to all other work he had done in blindly. I have done something, oh God, I have done something really at last.
Okay. Now what happened? Now finally, the nurse in a very shock and in a hysterical list, and you're crying. Okay, that kind of a voice. Okay, so she finally says that dear Father in heaven, it has come alive. So she was in a shock. Okay, and you gave her the child. Okay, and the mother, the old woman, the mother of Susan, she was praying and all. Okay, and the room was a mess. There were blankets, towels, hypodermic syringe, everything was there. It was just a big mess. Okay. So Andre says, I'll fetch my bag later because he was so exhausted. He just wanted to go home. Okay. So he did not even care for his bag. He just said that I'll get my bag later. Okay. So he went downstairs to scullery. Scullery is kind of a very small kitchen. It's like a washing area or a kitchen type. Behind a kitchen, there's an area, a washing area where you wash your utensils or your clothes. That area is called the scullery. Okay, so he drank water there and he finally went outside, met Joe. Joe had an expectant face because he was expecting some kind of news, and he reassured Joe that everything is fine, both of them are fine. Now it was nearly 5 o'clock. When did they started all of this? Does anyone remember the time? When did they started all of this? Anyone? Around 12 midnight. Yeah, we started around 12 midnight or so, and now it was 5 o'clock. So as I said, that Greenlee was a town of mining, so a few miners were going home after the night shift. Okay, and Andrew was also going home now. Okay, and he was thinking something oblivious to what he had done. Oblivious, not thinking about what he had done. He was thinking of something that he had done, something meaningful. Okay, he did not think of all the procedures, what he went through, what efforts. He was not thinking about all of this. He was just thinking that he did something meaningful at last. What meaningful? That he saved a life. He saved someone's life. He brought back someone from death. Okay, and I don't think so anything more meaningful can be above this. Saving someone's life. So he says, I have done something at last. Okay. So that is the chapter. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt?
No doubt, ma'am.
Okay, so let's see the question answers. Okay, you can see the question answers. Okay, I want you to raise your hands. Okay, question number 1. Who was Joe Morgan? Why had he been waiting for Dr. Andrew Manson? Raise your hands. Okay. I want everyone to answer. Yes, Arjun.
Yes, ma'am. Joe Morgan, ma'am was a neighbor of Andrew Manson, and yeah, and he was married to Susan Morgan, and they were both expecting their first child after 20 years of marriage. he had been waiting for Dr. Andrew Manson because this because Susan Morgan was about to give birth to a child,
Okay. So
and it
first
was
we have to, okay, you're good, very good, Aryan. We have to mention that Joe Morgan was a driller in Glenley. Okay. So he was a driller in Glenley. Okay, it was a mining town. And he was waiting for Dr. Andrew Hansen because his wife Susan needed immediate attention from a doctor as she was delivering a baby. Next, what was Andrew's view of marriage? Why was he resentful and confused? Again, I want everyone to answer. Just a second. Kanav, do you know the answer to this?
Ma'am, can you tell me which one?
Second, question number two. Do you know the answer?
Oh,
Okay. Arav, so I want everyone to answer because I know you were listening in the class. You can use the book if you want. What was Andrew's view of marriage? Yes, Aryan, tell me.
yes, yes, ma'am. Andrew's views on marriage was that ma'am, yes, ma'am. His views on marriage was that people who are foolishly devoted to a woman, and then the moon deceive them, and leave them behind. Due to which some people have to live unhappy life.
Okay, very good. Vanshika, do you want to add something to this answer?
ma'am, Andrew thought that marriage is an idyllic state, ma'am. It is for foolish, and ma'am, he was confused as ma'am he recently had a fight with Christine, and he was occupied with the thoughts. So ma'am, that's why he thought of these things.
Okay. So basically, he was thinking of two people. Bramble, okay, who was foolishly devoted to his wife, but the wife deceived him. Then he thought of Edward Page, okay, and who was married to this ill-natured woman, and that woman now he is living separated from her unhappily, okay. So he thought that all marriages are dismal failures, and he couldn't think of marrying anyone except for Christine. He could only marry her, okay. Except for that, he cannot marry anyone. Don't fret, mother, I'll not run away. Why do you think Andrew says so? Why do I feel like only 2 to 3 people answered and listened in the class? Answer this question. Don't fret, mother, I'll not run away. Why do you think Andrew says so? Okay. Bhavya.
Andrew said this to Mrs. Morgan's mother. She was wise and experienced, and she realized that there must be need of waiting. She feared that the doctor might leave the case, saying he'd return later. So the Andrew assured the woman, Mrs. Morgan's mother, that he would run away. He would not run away. He would remain until everything was.
Very good. So in order to detain him, she offered to make him tea. And seeing that she's worried, Andrew says, don't worry, I'll not run away. Very good, doctor. What dilemma did Andrew face when the child was born? How was the doctor's dilemma solved? Question number 4. Arav. Very good. Okay. How was the doctor's dilemma solved? Okay. Okay. Very good. So basically, without giving it much thought, he just went to save the mother first. Okay. Describe briefly the efforts made by the doctor to revive the child. Describe briefly the efforts made by the doctor to revive the child. Okay, yes, Arjun.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Andrew, ma'am. First of all, ma'am. Andrew mentioned. I think thought that he had created a person with a special method of respiration. So first of all, he asked the nurse to fetch him hot water, cold water, and and basins. After that, he snatched a blanket and he laid the child upon it. And then began the special method of respiration. After then he splashed then he splashed the cold water into one basin into another, and he mixed the water so that his hand could be. Then, like some crazy juggler, he hurried the child between the two and the two plunging it into the icy now it is the steaming bath.
Okay. And now tell me, Vanshika, what was the second effort? First effort, Aryan already told about the juggling baby.
The second effort was that, ma'am. Then after that, ma'am, he realized that there's no hope. Then he took a rough towel and rubbed the child with it,
Very good.
and
That's
released
the
his
chest.
child with
Yes,
both his hands
very
to
good. That's the chest with the
touch
top.
his body.
Very good, very good, very good, Aryan. Okay, why does Andrew comment that he had done something real at last and bravely? Raise your hands. Why does Andrew comment that he had done something real at last? Arav. Okay, okay. A little bit more. Vanshika.
Ma'am, since Ma'am Andrew was the assistant of Andrew of the Edward Page, ma'am, he just helped him in in the in the saving the child. He helped uh, and his senior at first, but ma'am, in here he saved someone's life on his own. So that's why this is against him.
That was very meaningful for him. Very good. What impression do you form of Andrew Manson on the basis of the story Birth? What impression do you form of Andrew Manson on the basis of the story Birth? basically the character sketch of Andrew Manson. Anyone? What do you think Andrew Manson was? What kind of a person? Bhavya, do you know the answer to this? Aryan, do you know the answer to this? What kind of a person was Andrew Manson?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Andrew means Manson was doctor, and he was the assistant of Dr. Edward Page. Also he was ma'am, he was very ma'am, also he was very kind, and he has helped and he has helped people who are in who need emergency, rather he is rather he is rather he is exhausted or not.
Okay, very good answer. Anyone else wants to add? Arav, do you know the answer? Very good. He had a reassuring tone. Okay. And he was a very dedicated doctor. Okay. So even though his mind was completely filled with Christine and the fight that happened, he was mature enough to keep his private and professional life separate. Okay. And he did all the obligations of a doctor. Okay. He did his duty. So he was very duty conscious also. Okay. And you can write all of that. And he was a very polite and kind person. Okay. That's it. Any doubt in the chapter? Any doubt? I'll be sharing the assignment today after the class. Any doubt in the chapter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this was the last chapter of literature. Okay. And
The last question.
yes, Vanshika, last question. The character sketch.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, you write that he was a young doctor. He was just a qualified, newly qualified doctor. You write that. And then you write that he was mature enough to keep his private and professional life separate. Okay. Because even though he was filled with the thoughts of a fight with his girlfriend, he still did all his efforts. Okay. He completed his obligations, he completed his duty as a doctor. So he was very beauty conscious also. Okay. And he was a very dedicated doctor. You can write compassionate doctor. Okay. He had polite manners, polite tone. Okay. And he also had a reassuring tone.
You're not audible.
Am I not audible?
And now you're audible. Now you are.
Okay, so I'll just repeat. Okay, so he was a very dedicated doctor. Okay, he had very polite manners and a reassuring tone. Okay, and he kept his private and professional life separate. He was a young doctor. Okay, explain all of this. He was very duty conscious. Okay, and he fulfilled his obligations with utmost capacity. Means that he put all his efforts. It's not like that he just gave up very easily. He put all his efforts.
And how is he beauty conscious?
Duty conscious means that he while duty means that, what do you mean by duty conscious? That when you are conscious your duty completely, that there is no other thought in your mind. There is no that you are tired, that he was exhausted, he was mentally exhausted, he was physically exhausted. But when the duty calls, he was there, right? And his duty
Ma'am, I
was he
thought
was
you
there.
said beauty.
No, no, duty. DUTY. Duty
Yes,
call.
ma'am.
Okay. So whenever the duty called, he was there. He completed and fulfilled his duty completely. Okay, with all the energy, even after he was so mentally and physically exhausted. Okay. Now, any doubt? Okay, so this was the last chapter. Tomorrow we'll be doing business letters. Okay. So, how many of you remember that we did letters in term one also? Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
We did inquiry and we did placing in order, letter of complaint. Yeah, we
Some
did it all.
inquiry, complaint, listing of order.
Yes. So, in term two also we have formal letters only. Okay. But we'll be doing the letters again since it was term one. Okay. So, I've moved because I can hear my own voice. Yeah. So, we'll be doing letters tomorrow, and after the letters, we'll start the revision. First, we revise debate. Okay. You all remember the format for debate? We did
Yes,
this
ma'am.
before with interpretation. Yeah. No? Okay. Okay, so we'll revise debate, and then we revise note making, and then we'll start revising the literature also. Okay, so we'll revise everything. Any doubt with the syllabus, English syllabus, any doubt or the exam, any
And
doubt?
ma'am,
Yes, Aryan.
ma'am, will the debate, letter writing and poster making together, all of these will come in the syllabus, ma'am.
Yes, so poster will definitely come for 3 marks. You will have a choice between letter and debate. Okay, so poster is mandatory, it will definitely come. You will get a choice between letter and debate for 5 marks. Okay, and then 4 marks is your grammar. So this is your writing and grammar.
Ma'am, can you
Ma'am,
please
note
send the
making.
format?
I have sent it in the group.
Ma'am, what about note
Okay,
making?
ma'am.
Yeah, so you will have to, I'll send it again. Okay, I'll send it again. So you will have two unseen paragraphs in reading section. One unseen paragraph, normally you read the paragraph, you answer the questions. Okay, that is for 8 marks. Okay, there will be one more unseen paragraph, and you will have to do the note making for that. Okay, that will come for 5 marks. So note making and summarizing is for 5 marks, and 8 marks is for reading the passage and answering the questions. So two unseen paragraphs.
Ma'am, so can you also tell me
One by one, one by one. Yes, Ashwarya.
ma'am, the marks for note making, like how much marks is there for summary and for the title and all?
5 marks is for note making. So most probably, I've not discussed the marking scheme with the teachers, but most probably you will have 3 marks for note making and 2 marks for summary.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, and if there's any change in this also, I'll let you know. So, but just keep this in mind that 5 marks is for note making and summary. So both of them should be perfect. So it might be 1 mark for summary, or I'm not sure, 1 or 2 marks for summary. That's it, not more than that. Yes, Margaret.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, the question and answers of unseen passage will be a MCQ.
No, no, the paper is subjective. Okay, paper is subjective. Like PT2, the paper is completely subjective. You might have objective, but objective also like very few questions or very like gap filling and all. Like in PT2, you did, no? The grammar, one mark or half a mark per answer. Okay, something like this. But mainly it's subjective only.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, have you shared the marking scheme and the format of term 2 exam?
So I have shared that also, no? You see the syllabus once there are marks written already. Yeah, I just shared this. Check the group, English group. Okay, so when you see the syllabus, there are marks written there. Yes, Bhavya.
Ma'am, please share the assignment for Mother's Day as well.
Mothers Day I have uploaded on Teams. Should I send it in the group as well?
Ma'am, it's not visible on the Teams.
I'll send it in the group also once, okay? Birth also I'll upload. Any doubt now? So you've seen the group, you've checked the group now. There are marks written there, okay? So unseen paragraph is 8 marks.
Yes, ma'am.
Note making 5 marks. Poster 3 marks. Letter debate you have a choice, 5 marks. Grammar 4 marks. You can have reordering, you can have gap filling, you can have tense or transformation. So it's written here the MCQs. So it can come in MCQ form or it can come like it happened in PT2. So keep the PT2 format in your mind. Okay. So yeah, and then 15 marks is for your literature. For ASL, it's 10 marks, and still there are many students in the class who have not given speaking assessment.
Will there be a separate speaking assessment for term 2?
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so term 2 speaking assessment has already happened. But there are 15, 16 students who have not given the speaking assessment. So I will conduct it one last time. Okay, I'll conduct it one last time next week or next week. Okay, and then you have to give, and don't be absent, because if you are absent in that class speaking assessment, I won't give you any marks. Okay, so there are only 15, 16 students. Most of you have already given the speaking assessment. Okay, any doubt now?
The topics will be the same.
Yeah, topics will be same. Any doubt now? And listening assessment will also happen. This is speaking, and listening will happen. Listening, you all have to give it for term 2. Okay. Any doubt now?
Ma'am, when there will be listening assessment?
Yes. That the date is not decided yet,
Okay, ma'am.
because and listening assessment, these dates are not decided yet. Okay. So tomorrow we will be doing letters. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I'm taking attendance. Akansha, Arav Rewal, Arav Sharma, Agnish,
Present, ma'am.
Aishwarya,
Present, ma'am.
Akshata,
Present, ma'am.
Aman,
Present, ma'am.
Anshika, Arumita, Aryan,
Present, ma'am.
Ayush,
Present, ma'am.
Bhavya Bhardwaj,
Present, ma'am.
Bhavya Mishra,
Present, ma'am.
Daman, Devansh, Rishita. Daman was also present. Devansh, Rishita, Galaxy, Galaxy, Gautam Kakkar,
Present, ma'am.
Gautam Kumar,
Present, ma'am.
Himanshu,
Present, ma'am.
Jayant.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am, Himanshu present.
Okay, Himanshu, yes. Kanak,
Present, ma'am.
Kunjal,
Present, ma'am.
Lakshan,
Present, ma'am.
Linoy,
Present, ma'am.
Manav,
Present, ma'am.
Pragya, Rishabh,
Present, ma'am.
Rohan, Sahil Bish, Sahil Sharma, Sanket, Shashwat,
Present, ma'am.
Shivansh,
Present, ma'am.
Shriya,
Present, ma'am.
Siddharth Sharma,
Present, ma'am.
Siddharth Jain, Siddharth Singhal,
Present, ma'am.
Shrishti, Vani,
Present,
okay, Vanshika.
present, ma'am.
Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow and we'll be doing letter writing tomorrow. Okay, thank you everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care everyone. Bye.